So this is an Abbey GTS Vogue 212. Just going to take you around the van and show you how it operates. The hookup procedure will take you through in person here on site. So that's the jockey wheel, hitch and handbrake. And we'll demonstrate that to you, then get you to have a go as well. In the front locker, you've got your two gas bottles in the front with your gas pipe work and regulator on the pipe work going up to the bottle. The fitment that goes into the bottle is actually a reverse thread fitment, so you'd need to turn that the opposite way to what you would, for instance, a bottle cap, to release the threads or to release the fitment. On top here you have the on-off valve for the gas bottle itself, and you need to turn the gas on if you want to use the gas system, and then when you're towing or moving the caravan at all, essentially you'd make sure the gas is always turned off so that it doesn't cause any problems essentially. You then got your water pump connection. The water pump connection itself pushes into the side of the van, and at the top here you have two tabs that lock it in place. The water pump itself drops down inside the act roll, and we'll show you how to fill the system once we go inside the van. You then got your wind down leg on either side at the front of the caravan, and they are there for stabilising the caravan. They are not there for lifting the van. It could potentially damage the floor of the caravan if you actually lift the caravan off the ground with these legs. On the side of the van here, cover will be on here when you next see the van. However, you've got a cover that goes over the top of this flue here when the van is in storage or not being used. However, you do need to remove that cover before you ignite anything on gas inside of the caravan. The battery locker, you've got your two battery connections on top of the battery for the top of the battery, quick release terminal. So you pop the red cap up or the black cap to release it from the battery. You've then got your mains power lead coming to the side of the van. And in the back there also you've got your motor mover power switch, which will demonstrate to you in person here on site. Next up, the wheels and the motor mover. Again, the motor mover will demonstrate while you're here, and we'll also torque the wheel nuts before the caravan leaves site so you can see they've been tightened correctly. On the side of the van you have your grey waste pipe coming out the side of the van. So the fresh water at the front needs to come out somewhere, so you'd attach a bit of grey pipe into the side of the van and put it down inside your waste master. At the back of the van, on this side, you have your toilet waste locker, toilet waste cassette. Push the yellow handle down at the bottom and pull the cassette towards you. The neck here at the top that turns out is so you can fill your flush tank, and down the side you've got a level for that flush tank. It's normally around 3.5 litres of water, but you can also drain that for winter storage through this little yellow cap here. When you remove this cap, you can put in there, like I said, 3.5 litres of water and a cap full of the pink fluid. The cassette itself, you've got a neck as well that turns out on there, so you can tip the waste away once the cassette is full. And the yellow cap that's here is a measure, so you can measure the blue fluid that goes in the cassette, and you put 1 litre of water in and a capful of the blue fluid prior to use. On the back of the cassette you've got a yellow pressure relief button that you'd press in, so when you're tipping the waste away it doesn't spit and splatter back at you. On the back of the van again, you've got two wind down legs to stabilise the caravan while it is on site. Again, you would never lift the caravan with these legs. Down the door side of the van, you've got your storage locker for at the front, and you've got a barbecue gas point. Plus, you've got your other wind down leg for the front left hand side of the van. Behind the door, you've got your two fridge vents. You would never cover these up. It's okay to put the door around, it is designed to do that. However, you wouldn't cover these up while they're in use, because they're essentially there to let the fridge take some cool air in and to get rid of the hot air out the back of the fridge unit. And also there is a gas flue behind the top one here as well, when the fridge is running on gas. Going inside the van, the first thing we're going to do is fill the water system up. So just above the door, you've got power switches for the van, for your lighting, etc. as you go across, so you need to turn all these off when you're travelling. But inside the cabinet here, on the far right hand side of the van, you have your control panel. So you've got power off inside the caravan when it's in the central position. You've got your connection for the car when it's on the left hand side. So when you turn down the road, you need to have it on this left hand option. That when you're connected to the car, or when you're using the caravan site, you need to make sure it is on the van on the right hand side. In the cupboard here, you have your master power switches for the heating and hot water. We'll come back to that in a moment. To fill the water system up, you're first of all going to need to come over to every tap on board the caravan and make sure they're all open on the hot side. As you can see, I've already filled the system on this particular van. You're going to make sure all of them switches are open. Underneath the seat on the front right hand side of the caravan, you'll see underneath here that you have your water heater itself. And down by the side of the water heater, just at the front of the van there, you'll see there is a yellow drain down valve. It's on the left hand side at the front here. Can't quite get to it at the moment, but that yellow valve needs to be parallel with the floor when you fill the water system on board the caravan. If that valve is upright and pointing towards the bottom of the seat, it'll actually drain all of the water out of the system on board the van. So, to turn the water pump on once you've got the system connected on the outside and you're ready to fill the water system up, you'll come to this left hand switch at the top here on the control panel above the door, and you'll notice you get a red light appear. That red light is indicating that the pump is running. Once the pump is running, you'll start to get water running out of every tap on board the caravan. Now, to start with, it is going to be a little bit slow and it will spit and splatter. But once the water is running continuously, like it is now, you can then shut every tap down on board the caravan and start warming the water on board the van. To do this, you have two options for doing it. In the cupboard here, on the top switch that you see here, you have your electric water heater. So if you want the water system to warm up on electric, you'd need to make sure that switch is turned on, and the 240 volt system will allow that to warm up. That is a preset temperature of around 35 to 40 degrees. On the opposite side of the caravan, just here, you have your ultra store, which don't think of it as an ultra store, think of it as a water store. To operate it, it is very simple to use. You have a red light here that means the gas system has failed to ignite, and behind here you have a green pilot light essentially that lets you know when the heating system is running. To get the water system to ignite on gas, you make sure the gas is turned on, flick this switch up, and like I said, the green light when it's on means it's ignited or is trying to ignite. After a couple of seconds you'll actually get a red light appear here because at the moment the gas is turned off. However, if you was on the gas and you wanted to run the water system, you can control the water temperature between 30 and 70 degrees. You would also need to use the gas system for the water heating when you are showering on board the caravan. If you don't use the gas system for when you're using the shower, the water system won't boost and it won't allow the hot water to warm up quick enough for showering. Below that, you have your ultra heat control. Now, for this to work, you will need to go into the cupboard on the far side again and make sure that bottom switch is turned on. You can leave that one at all times, it doesn't matter. It's just the water heater one that you wouldn't, especially when you haven't got water in the system. You can then come to this switch on the right hand side, turn the electric heating on, select the power source or the amount of power you have coming into the caravan from the caravan site you're on. The only way you'll know this is by asking the site office when you arrive on your holiday. You can then select 500, 1000 or 2000 watts by flicking this dial down or up depending on where it needs to be. And then you can control the temperature of the heater on the dial in the centre here. Between 5 and 30 degrees. To turn the heater off of electric, you'll flick the switch off here on the right hand side and that will isolate the heater itself. Behind me we have the actual heater. Now the heater has a couple of different modes on it. You can essentially run the heating system so the heat comes out the front of the heater, which is the dot in the centre here, which is what it's currently on. You can run your continuous blown air so the heat comes out the vents around the caravan, like them to either side of that cabinet at the front. And to do that, you can have it on continuous by flicking the switch here over to this wave symbol. Then you control the fan speed on the dial on top. You can run automatic blown air, so essentially it cuts in and out with the thermostat on board the van by putting it onto the A on the right hand side. And like I said, that will actually allow the thermostat to kick the fans in and out with the thermostat itself. You can also run the heater itself on gas. You've got a dial here on the right hand side. You can spin this dial round to between 10 and 9, press down the valve, and then in the little window down the front here is where you'll actually find your pilot light. It'll be around a 45 degree angle from the floor. And essentially once that is ignited, you can then keep the valve down for a further 5 to 10 seconds and slowly release the valve, and then you'll be able to control the temperature of the heater on gas on the dial on top. So that is your water heating and heating for the caravan internally. Now behind me we have the fridge. The fridge is very simple to use. You either have your mains option for when you've got mains power coming into the caravan, and you can control the temperature of the fridge on the dial on the right hand side, all the way up to the maximum. You've got your 12 volt for when you're towing the caravan down the road, so you can use the fridge as a cool box. So when you get on site, the beers and wine are nice and cold. That will only work from the 12 volt supply that is coming from your car, not the 12 volt supply on board the caravan. You've then got your gas option at the bottom. Now on the right hand side here, you'll see a red light flashing. That is essentially to let you know the igniter is working. And if that light goes solid red, then it means the pilot light is lit and working as it should. To help it ignite, you'd press in the temperature valve with the gas turned on. And then, like I said, when that goes solid, you'll continue to hold in the gas valve for a further 5 to 10 seconds, then slowly release the valve. To turn the fridge back off of any of the power sources, you turn it back round to the off position at the top here. The last thing we're going to go through on the caravan is the toilet toilet system itself. So with the toilet, you have a flap here that allows you to open the waste cassette, and as you shut the toilet and push the button down on the left hand side, it will allow the toilet to flush, as you can see. You do need to make sure when you've used the loo that you shut the flap back up, because it could potentially let smells into the inside of the caravan. On the front of the toilet, you'll see this little green icon. That will go red when the toilet waste cassette is completely full, to let you know that this cassette is full and it needs to be emptied. So that is the Abbey Vogue GTS 212. If you have any further questions on the caravan, please don't hesitate to give us a call here at the Caravan Company, and we'll be more than happy to help. We appreciate the business, and we look forward to seeing you here on site soon when you collect your caravan. Thank you for now. Bye bye.